Until I was 9 years old, my world was small and steady. Same classrooms, same playgrounds, same streets since preschool. The life of a typical child. 2 younger sisters, loving parents, and a weekly rhythm almost as predictable as the tides, with ballet on Monday, swimming on Tuesdays, flute on Wednesdays. I liked knowing where things started and ended. It felt safe, structured, almost engineered. I had really anchored myself deep into the grounds of this familiar environment. But one day, early 2015, my parents said one sentence that cracked that little world of mine open. Les filles, on déménage. We're moving. Not to another town, not to another region, no, to India, Bangalore, a city of 15 million people, 8,500 kilometers away. And at 9 years old, you don't really understand or really begin to comprehend what that truly represents. You just imagine elephants and colorful Bollywood dresses, but nothing, absolutely nothing, could have prepared me for what was to come. My parents, always one step ahead, had signed me up for these intensive English lessons. But let me be honest, the only thing I really took away from those were how to say, "Hello, my name is Ainhoa, I am from France, it is nice to meet you." And of course, the lyrics to the song Let It Go from the movie Frozen. You know, I still remember the first time I stepped off the airplane at Kempegowda International Airport, Bangalore. My passport in hand, feeling like a responsible, independent little girl on a grand adventure. I waved at all the security guards like I was Queen Elizabeth, and I smiled at the immigration cameras. I absorbed everything. That distinct, humid carpet smell, all the accents of the people around me, and even that gush of heat as we exited the airport. Everything. But that excitement quickly turned into fear. The realization hit me. This wasn't just a holiday. This was my new life. And nobody had told me how to live it. I had no set of instructions. Everyone spoke English. I didn't. Everyone stared at me. I didn't like it. And everyone was so used to the spicy food. I hated it. I had become what we call l'étrangère, the outsider, the one who doesn't belong. And that was the first time I felt it. That moment where I couldn't follow, couldn't express myself, couldn't answer questions. It was the first time I felt that panic of not being able to know what's coming forward. That feeling of being dropped inside a chapter with no set of instructions. And that was also the first time I came face to face with a question I would spend years trying to answer. What does it mean to belong? And what happens when you don't belong anywhere? When you're in between? At first, India was too much. The traffic, honking cars, rickshaws, the smells, spices, incense, street food, it was overwhelming. I remember staring at the cows, walking in the middle of the road, so calmly, utterly unfazed by the chaos around them. And I thought to myself, they looked so confident, so comfortable in their own bubble. But me, 9 years old, trying so hard to act like I had it all together, reassuring my younger sisters, when in reality, the truth is, I felt unanchored. Kind of like a little nomad, drifting between two shores, not sure where to land. But slowly, things changed. As the months passed, I adapted. We adapted as a family. I learned English, I made friends at school and at swimming, and I began to feel okay. Not the same as before, but okay. And eventually, I realized I wasn't just learning a new language. I wasn't just translating words. I was learning to translate myself. Between cultures, between sounds, between two different definitions of normal, between namaste and bonjour. But then each summer, I came back to France. And each time, I felt a little more foreign. It started out small. Initially, I just mixed up my words. I couldn't get the jokes, and I was missing out on the new refs. But over time, it grew into something deeper. I wasn't fully French anymore, or at least not in the way I used to be. But I wasn't fully Indian either. There was a line, and I had one foot on each side of this line I hadn't even known existed. I was in between. And that feeling followed me. Even now, here at TEDxCentraleSupelec, I feel it. Most students here have done prépa, the traditional path to engineering in France. I didn't. Most of their friendships were formed months before coming here. Mine weren't. And most of their jokes and refs stem from these 2 years of shared struggle in prépa. But I don't get them. I am a student of the bachelor program. Smaller, newer, less understood. It's not that I don't belong here. It's that I don't belong in the usual way. Once again, entre deux. But maybe that's the most accurate description of what growing up is, being in between. Between who you were and who you're becoming. Between what's behind you and what's ahead of you. You know, when I first heard I was the student selected for this year's TEDx conference, whose theme was the tunneling effect, I thought to myself, yeah, no, this is not happening. There's no way. The tunneling effect describes when a particle faces a potential barrier that it technically shouldn't be able to cross with its given energy, but it somehow appears on the other side. It doesn't break through, it passes through in its own way. And that's kind of like what growing up in India felt like, what learning a new language felt like, or even what giving this TED Talk currently feels like. Each time you face a wall or a barrier, a limit, something you weren't sure you could cross. But every time, you end up on the other side. I didn't stop being French, no. I didn't become fully Indian. I became something else. I became someone who could carry both and belong in that in-between. I tunneled through. Many of us today live between careers, cultures, languages, but that does not make us dependent on a set of instructions. There is no user guide to growing up. And even if there were one, I'd probably ignore it anyway, because you don't grow by following a set of rules and bullet points. You grow by getting lost, by figuring it out, by trying again and again and again. If I could talk to that 9-year-old girl who was packing her life into boxes and boxes before moving to India, actually, I wouldn't talk to her. Because to move forward in life, you need to move through it. To do what the cows in Bangalore do. Walk straight through the chaos of traffic like you belong there. And ignore all the cars honking at you. Thank you.